Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. What you think of the stories we bring to you day in and day out. Either way, you're listening to the front lines. Let's get this party started.
Shall we begin?
To the major accidents and investigations that ensue from them, we are here to break it down and, more importantly, make it make sense to you. We are giving you the voice and giving you the ability to be part of the conversation and part of a movement that will go far beyond what I can provide in a show like here. Nowhere else will you get the ability to call into a show and talk to a host and actually make a difference. Everybody reads the headlines. Everybody talks about what's in front of them on freight waves or trucker.com or landline or whatever. Only I actually read the story, make sense of it, present it to you, and then ask you the important questions. But more importantly, I give you the venue and the ability to ask those very same questions. Okay, I'm a host. I'm a broadcaster. I don't know it all. But I gladly give the floor to those that do. That's what the front lines is all about. That's what I welcome every week on Wednesday and Saturday. Every time we go live, we talk about the issues. I'm not solving them. All I'm doing is presenting you the platform where we together can solve them. Now, we together, I mean, there's a list a mile long of people that are truckers all day long, all day, all day, all night. But only those that have been with me can understand what I'm about to say. And that's that we are here to get it done. And we have a way of doing it. So if you want to be part of this panel of legends that I'm about to bring up on this show, by all means, click on the link in the description down below. It's a StreamYard link. You'll have to authenticate through my Facebook or my YouTube. But once you're done and you're up, you'll be on screen and you'll be just like the rest of us and able to contribute to the show. Question. You are really going to do that?
You just sure. Brought us all together.
Yeah, why not? Got to make it interesting.
Hey, so, I have to say, maybe these other guys down below me are all legends, and this guy over there is a legend, but I'm no legend. Okay, I'm just
in my own mind.
I was gonna say, you are gonna take from Tolga the one single thing he looks forward to every time he tunes into our show. You're gonna take that away from him? No, come on. Tolga's the dude, man. He's watching us right now, and you're telling him he's lying to us? No, you're not going to do that.
No, he's referring to all you guys. I'm not a legend. You guys are all legends. So,
well, if you're not a legend, why the hell do you want my screen?
He's got 150,000 subscribers. He's a legend in my book.
Oh, geez, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, you got another guest in there that might want to say something.
Boom. It just ended abruptly. We're going to build back trucking, ain't we?
We are, but we're going to build it back with somebody that can't post on YouTube. Shots fired. Shots fired.
If you're referring to me, I'm having technical difficulties right now. So.
I'm not referring to you.
Oh. That was referring to John now. Okay.
No, he said that wasn't to me.
Oh, he's referring to me. Okay, no. Let's have it, big boy. Let's have it, big boy.
I was messing with John.
Oh, okay.
Legends are supposed to post. I didn't get any notifications today.
Yeah. You got a text notification, all right?
Hey, can you listen to that? Hold on, John. Can you hear this? Did you hear that?
What are you doing? Slapping yourself in the face?
I was clapping. It's not working. Oh. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to clap with gloves on, Scott.
I'm sorry, I'm not technologically advanced, so I had some technical issues. It's not up to. It won't be up today, but we'll get it fixed.
I'm just messing with you, brother.
Yeah, we all mess with each other.
Technical issues.
let's give some gratitude to some of the fans in the house. We got Griff USMC says, "It lives. Welcome to the show, my friend." He put something up earlier. Knock, knock. He was one of the first ones in. So he's actually faster than W7 Vader this week. God bless him. W7 Vader is usually the first one on the channel saying hello to everybody. Let me see. Everybody's talking amongst themselves. Hell, I thought we were going to have some action in the comments, and we're kind of late. People, comment. Let us know you're here. Tell us where you're talking to us from. Let us know where you're actually, where you're actually talking to us from. I thought I had it in the in the slide earlier, but I guess I left it out. I'm slipping as a broadcaster. Shame on me.
Hi,
Yeah, I can't even control my slides. What's going on here? Technical difficulties, folks. We are having them again.
Let's blame it on Microsoft. That seems to work.
Right? I know. It did last week. What the hell?
It's a Microsoft problem, right?
Yeah.
Just go down to the App Store. It'll take care of it all for you.
I thought you were going to go on a Lynx, Dick. I was going to be like, dude, come on now. You're starting to sound like some ordinary gamers now. I know you know who that is.
All right, so what are we talking about there, boss man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my slides all set up. I didn't first one up. Shame on me. All right, so let me set up my screen share because I have no slides for the first thing. Let me ask you this, guys. How often is it that you think we're hearing about now on a regular basis all this junk about ELDs? Everybody's talking about, well, you can't use this one. You can't use that one. They've got a list 15 miles long about certain ELDs you can use and certain ones you can't.
Just use a reputable one. Don't use one from Serbia. You'll be okay.
Well, the FMCSA has a list that those are the only approved ones. So just use one of those.
Yeah, well, today I've got an article up here, and it's mainly just for BS purposes, really. I'm talking about the frequency myself. FMCSA removes 4 electronic logging devices from its registered list. Now, let me ask you something. Who has ever heard of these lists or these names on the list? I've never heard of them, but yet it seems
one
like
of them is for ego.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that because I don't know who they are. Yeah.
They actually had to change theirs because they were involved in a lawsuit where they were putting that fictitious driver syndrome in. All they did is change the name of it. It's back already. You know it is. Come on. Right.
I mean, but who's honestly ever heard of these people? And how many times have we heard reports where they're talking about, well, you have until X and you got to do A or do B? 9 times out of 10, when your name's on this list, and we only got 4 of them right here. When your name's on that list, all you got to do is just go to paper logs until you find somebody else. Or whatever your carrier tells you to do.
Paper logs, how long?
Huh?
Your drivers can only be on paper logs for how long?
7 days, I thought. You can only run 7 days of paper logs.
30-day period. So paper logs isn't going to work.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, 7 days. I mean, I don't know what this story, because it don't detail what you have to do. It just said that the agency placed ELDs on a revoked list and said failure to meet the minimum requirements of that 49 FCR means that the removals are effective on a certain day. They give you what to do, and they also give you links in the story about where to go to see if you're actually on that list. Like, you wouldn't know already. Like, I don't know, but what? My question is, why are we even still talking about this? You would think that with technology the way it is today, it wouldn't even be necessary to publish this kind of list. Why are we still talking about ones that can and ones that can't? Why is this even an issue?
It's a game of whack-a-mole.
Well,
yeah. As a fraudulent one comes up, they figure it out and then they kick it off the list. They have an approved list, and that's the only ones that you can use. So
Yeah.
And I'm not really picking on Super Ego, but have you ever noticed the name Super Ego Holding is really big on the trailer? What's the name on the tractor? Floyd, Jordan, Windy City. You'll never see Super
whatever. It's whatever
You'll
tractor's
Super Ego on the side of the tractor because Super Ego doesn't have a DOT number. All the DOT numbers are in these other Rocket. And what they're doing, every time one of them gets shut down, they change the drivers over, mail them out some new stickers
or something. Yeah.
Same thing with these.
Anyway, just to give credibility to the story that I'm actually talking about, guys, I don't want to disservice anybody out there watching this show. I want to say that, this story goes on to talk about those 4 ELDs. And it does say that you've got until September 21st to replace the ELDs from those on the approved list. Now, failure to do so will be meaning you'll be running the risk of being cited and placed out of service. So if you've got one of those 4 on this, make sure you take action quickly, get yourself back in compliance. Don't want to be remiss by mentioning that. But I mean, what are some of the specific things that these people at the FMCSA are looking for that tag these 4? I don't know that we know this specifically, and it didn't cite it in the article. But I mean, what's to stop them from taking every other ELD on the market off? I mean, what is it they're looking for? What's the problem here? Does anybody know? If you know, put it in the comments. Let us know. I'd certainly be interested to know what you out there in the audience know that we might not. But, I mean, guys on the panel, what do you think? You think there's something specific they're not doing or something specific they're allowing? What do you think it is?
A lot of the ones that end up getting kicked off the list, it's because they find out that they can be edited, like from the back end. That's now, you're not allowed to do that anymore, and they find loopholes and they come, from the back end and edit logs so that guys can keep running. It's honestly, it's the same guys that probably ran, 2, 3, 4 logbooks back in the day. You know what I mean? So
maybe it could. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I mean, to each their own. I mean, we gotta.
In the early morning hour, March 7th of last year, Norfolk Southern train conductor Louis Schuster of Broadview Heights was killed when his train collided with a dump truck as the two converged.
Okay. That's our next story, but we're not there yet. I don't know why this thing decided to jump track on me.
Jump track.
Yeah, that's funny. But anyway.
Well, guys, while we're talking about this, think about the train collision thing. There you go.
There you go, right? Yeah, I know what's coming up. Anyway.
I'm just curious, out of the 9 people that it's showing that are in here on YouTube and anybody that's on Facebook, guys, throw it in the comment section. You paper, you run logs, e-logs, what are you guys doing? Because there are a lot of guys that still run paper.
Yeah.
I know for sure one in the comments does. So
yeah, I mean, I had to run paper logs, switching back and forth from company to company. Now I don't know.
I mean, they do it all the time.
Well, should I tell people what I'm doing? I don't know. Have I actually said that? What I'm doing, who I'm working for? I don't think I have.
No, I don't think you should yet.
No, I don't think I should either, because I haven't really done a vlog about that. So I'll save you the trouble. But anyway, I've had to run paper logs, and it's a pain. It's not pretty. It's aggravating. There's a lot of, Who likes paper logs? That's another thing. Who likes? You're skinny, Grumpy. You're skinny.
Hang on. Be right back.
Fix yourself, boy. Everybody's having technical difficulties today.
How about Make Truckin? Do you have any experience with e-logs compared to paper logs?
Well, yeah, I started my career with paper logs, and then switched over to e-logs when that became the mandate.
No, I'm not gonna ask you have you ever done it, but do you know how to run 2 logbooks?
Ooh, I plead the fifth.
Dangerous question. You know, somebody that may actually have experience in that department has yet been brought from backstage. Somebody you might not be familiar with, but somebody that was on my last show, a fella I'll introduce as Highway Junkies. I want to bring in there Little John, formerly Highway Junkies. Have you ever run paper logs or have issues with your ELD? Can you relate to this? How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I've had several companies where I ran e-logs for.
Yeah. Have you ever had to run paper logs?
Yes. I miss those days.
Have you ever had to run two logbooks? No, I won't even put you in that category.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, no comment. Right? Safe thing to do. You have an admirer in the audience, John. Love the shirt. I would say, yeah. Got to push the merchandise, my friend. Got to push the merchandise.
Now, this one isn't merchandise. This one's personal. If you read it, you'll realize. Yes, you realize my dad.
Oops, like a regular dad, only way cooler. Love it, love it.
It was a Father's Day gift from my daughter this year, so
that's why I have to look over that way. But yeah, that is so funny.
It was a Father's Day gift from my daughter. So,
Grumpy, are we actually right in right dimensions, right state of mind? Are we good now?
You know, the Grump's having all kinds of malfunctions this week. So hey, why not have it on here?
Hey, right. Gonna make it good, right?
Exactly.
What about logbooks? What are your thoughts on logbooks? Are you who did we lose? Good Lord, what the hell? Something just happened to the screen. Dave, Highway, Grumpy, you, me. I don't know.
We're all here.
My computer's playing games with me. Anyway.
No, I think the comment disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stop messing with my comments, John. There's only one man running the show. There's only one man running the show, and that's me. All right. Rick says, no, you're running 3 logs, and it's still trying to remember which one you're on. Yeah. Who's had those days, right?
Yep.
Got another fella I haven't seen. Larry Massey, welcome to the show, my friend. You got people cheating on the ELO Super Eagle Holding midlife. You want to add to that? You know what he's talking about?
It's a well-known fact. It's been discussed many times on the internet. There have been lawsuits about it. Super Ego puts a fake driver in the truck with you. They're not the only ones, but they just happen to be the ones that people are talking about right now. And they put a fake driver. It looks like you had a co-driver on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then when the DOT officer says, hey, where's John Smith? Oh, I dropped him off at the truck stop so he could go to home time. I got a fresh clock. I'm new.
Alrighty then. Yeah. Talk about getting the job done, right?
Yeah. Look, the only difference between an ELD and a paper logbook is the integrity of the driver. If you are running for a reputable carrier and you're an honest driver, you can make a good living telling the truth. We really don't have to run 14, 16, 18 hours and plow into a family in a minivan or run off the road like a couple guys did this morning because you're too dang tired to pay attention. The thing about it is we hurt our own reputation by doing it.
Well, exactly. I mean, everybody's that super trucker, and pay attention. I'm soon putting out a video on the concept of super trucker. It'll be a short one. It'll be a small one, but I think it perfectly tells the story of what Tom's actually talking about. Everybody wants to be the super trucker. You know, oh, I can do this. I can do that. I can do it better. I can do it farther and faster. But what's it get you at the end of the day? Dead. So yeah, I totally relate to what you're saying, Tom. It's not a good thing. Integrity is always going to be in question. And unfortunately, the ELD forces you to be just that, honest. It forces you to do the right thing. A lot of people have problems with ELDs. I frankly don't. If you know how to manage it and you know how to do it right, it's like better than paper logs, frankly. I mean, am I wrong? Anybody here disagree with that?
Well, look, come on. Half the time I don't know where I'm at. You think I want to sit there and try to figure out where I'm at first and then write that down in the comments and then try to write legibly? It's so much easier just to punch into the ELD.
Well, and then too, I mean, I like bragging that I've driven 70 hours in 6 days, but why brag when you've got a telephone that shows you exactly what you've done?
And you can do it legally.
Right?
There's a
And
difference.
whether you can do it legally. Yeah.
But, you're not getting a DOT out of service sticker put on your window of your truck as you sit in the weigh station and sleep for 3 days.
Yeah, right? Come on, John. You want to pipe up on that one? I can see the look on your face.
Nope.
Nope.
You're going to have to wait for the video.
All right.
Go ahead and plug the video, John. Go ahead and plug it.
Come on now.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. He can't plug nothing. He's in the doghouse for a little while.
No. I got some technical difficulties.
Doghouse technical difficulties are all the same thing.
It's the difficulty.
Yeah, it is. It is. What about you, Frank? What do you think about this whole ELD thing? You got anything to add to it?
I'll just tell you as it is. I ran it for a while whenever I first began my career. And to be honest with you, I'm very satisfied with running ELD because it's a lot easier. There's less mess. You don't have to worry about a ruler to draw straight lines and all that junk. Yeah, I like my ELD.
Yeah.
The bigger problem with paper logbooks is really not so much the older drivers been around for a while. And I don't necessarily mean driver. It can be a driver who's up in age and knows the limitations, or it can be a driver who's driven 20 years, knows the limitations. And they all know the limitations until the scene of the accident. But it's the younger drivers that are afraid of their dispatcher, and their dispatcher says, look, you're on paper logbooks. Go, you can make it. Just edit this, edit that. And they'll force them to do it. And then what happens? When the wreck happens, what's the dispatcher say? I didn't say that shit.
Yep, exactly. You never have the criticism until an accident.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead. By all means, Frank.
I hear a lot of. I don't know if y'all can hear me. If my connection.
You're good. You're golden, man. Keep going.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're golden. Go ahead.
I hear a lot of non-reefer haulers saying they like ELDs. I hate the ELD.
Gee, I wonder why.
I have learned. I've learned how to live with it, but
I want to hear this. Why? Why do you hate it?
Oh, just because of our hours, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. It does work. I am not saying the ELD is a bad thing.
No.
Being semi old school, you know what I mean? I spent more of my driving career not using an ELD than I have using an ELD. So I would prefer to do paper logs if I could.
Okay.
I just thought I'd rip on you all real quick and say I hear a lot of non-reefer haulers saying they don't mind ELDs.
I will say
for your logs.
I will say
the statute of limitations has expired. How close to the truth were your logbooks when you were running paper?
Which one?
Which one?
I will say, let's be honest. I'll tell you, F8. I'll tell you, F8. As for e-logs, I used to work for the same guy that he works for, and like his e-logs are the example of what to do. Probably a lot like midlife's. He's very structured. Does comments like everything you're supposed to do. So before you crack on him too bad, know he runs it right. But as an old reefer driver myself, I know exactly what he's saying. Because yes, e-logs work great for a box driver and a lot of other different drivers, but reefer drivers, honestly, it'd be better if they didn't have hours of service because, you run some crazy weird hours. So
and then you've got to sit there and wait for the reefer to cool down. I mean, you made a couple of logs. You've made a couple of vlogs, Scott, where you made mention of that, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you're sitting in an 80-degree temperature place. You're running in there. You have to crank up that reefer, and you have to let it sit there, 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes to get down to -10 for ice cream or whatever it is you got to haul. I mean, that eats into your time. I mean, that's got to be ridiculous. You got to be able to get that back, of course.
Well,
I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but go ahead.
no, I'm just that doesn't really eat into my time.
Yeah.
No, it's just the weird hours. And that was a joke because we all face the same dilemmas, no matter what type of freight you're hauling. It's I would say for what I do, it's the waiting times at shippers and receivers that literally kill your clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of that time.
And you guys are more susceptible than anybody to longer wait times, especially the receivers, because of the damn lumpers. They count everything. They check everything. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Especially if you pick up at times.
But we choose reefer because more.
Yeah, little John was going to pipe up and say something. I heard him saying something. What were you going to add to this, Little John?
I was saying, especially if you're picking up at Tyson.
Tyson? Hey, there you go. Yeah, because Little John works for Hurricane, and they do reefer loads, so he's got the same experience you do, Fate. So
he's got all the chicken lights, huh?
The chicken lights, yeah. There you
go. I have somebody in the comment section that's sending me messages offline, wondering if you can see their comments. So if you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt you for 2 seconds. 7C says if you can edit e-logs, how is it much different than paper? And at least F8 is honest. Love that guy. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I don't know where that part is. Okay.
Editing e-logs?
Yeah. There you go.
You can't edit.
You can edit everything except for the driveline.
Correct. Everything except the driveline. And also
driveline, PC, and yard move.
Correct. Anything that's is moving.
Yeah. Right. What were you going to add, Fate? You were going to say something. You got cut off. Sorry.
I have horrible service. I was going to say exactly what Midlife and Grumpy just said. You can edit everything except any driving. Like you can't go back and you can't go back and edit that.
Yeah.
Where you used to be able to.
Now your carrier can edit it, but edit too many times will flag it. And for example, a carrier might be more willing to edit a PC or a yard move than they would. Like if you accidentally leave it on yard move for 3 hours, they'll go back.
There's some PC they won't edit, and I found that out firsthand.
Most carriers these days won't even edit anything anymore because if they get audited, they will be rung through the ringer.
PC is very questionable because I tried getting PC edited through Landstar, and they won't touch it. They deferred me to the maker of the ELD, and that's like an act of Congress. You can't get nothing done. So, what were you going to add, Scott?
Well, I was going to say it's not anybody that is an administrator can edit the log. Like I have the authority to edit my logs because I am an administrator on my ELD because I pay for it. You know what I mean? So anybody that has that authority can edit things, but you're playing with fire if you do it. That's just it's not a good idea.
No, it ain't.
It's just knowing the rules. Like if you know the rules.
Yeah. I want to add to that real quick.
Go ahead, Grumpy. Go ahead.
Basically, if you edit anything that has to do with drive time, it's going to show a red flag on your ELD. So it's going to be noticeable, and it will show up whenever they audit you. So you can't get around it. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why when our company edits something, like for example, we have a limit of 45 miles on PC. However, PC is up to the carrier. I needed 77 miles of PC one day. So they told me, go ahead and drive it, put it in PC. When you run out of PC, it'll kick you to drive line. I pulled into the driveway, and as soon as I pulled into the driveway, I got a phone call from them. They said, you're going to have to verify after we change. They changed that driving to PC and put a note underneath that said additional PC authorized by, and put who authorized it at the company, and then had me verify, and it was all good because they wrote an explanation. Now, when I was at my previous carrier, I had one time where I put it in yard move, and let's just say a day and a half later, yard move for a little while. So they changed that to off duty.
So, I mean, I'm going to move on to the next story. But before I do, I want to ask a very obvious question. A lot of people may not know if they're watching the show or happen on this on the replay. What should we look for if we're kind of new in the business or really don't know a whole lot about this whole ELD thing? What should we look for and really think about to steer away from the possibility that we could wind up dealing with one of the ELDs on this list? What should we think about looking for? What can you guys offer?
Reputable carriers are going to use reputable ELDs, ones that we've all heard of before. They're going to be using Geotab. They're going to be using Qualcomm. They're going to be using something reputable. If you look at it and you can't pronounce it because it's got more consonants than vowels, maybe something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Something to definitely think about. Anybody got anything to add to that? A good measure or a good thing to think about in terms of finding a provider or somebody with an ELD that doesn't want to screw you over?
Samsara seems to be pretty good so far.
There's a list online.
Yeah, there's a list of approved things.
And Kate, I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually did look it up, but because I put this show together so quickly, I didn't have time to include that in links. So I will put that list up. There's 2 links. The revoked link I'm going to put on the description, and that list you just referred to a minute ago, I'm also going to put that up. So both will be in the description of this video once it's published. So thank you for mentioning that.
Or just keep buying the bad ones, because then you can stay on paper log. As long as you have, a receipt, and you're
really gonna go there.
Another one to show up.
Yeah,
you can stay on paper logs.
If you happen to snip the wire that goes to going to your e-log, it's not your fault, you know. You just stay on paper.
I'm gonna start calling you John. You keep that up because you're doing what he would do. That's funny. I don't care how you look at it. All right, I'm trying to look at some comments and get caught up here. Let me see. That was you talking to him. Tyson, Stanford trucker, you're staying overnight. Okay, is there an inside joke you two know about that I don't know? Mike B, welcome to the show. Did it for 6 months, never go back to those grocery warehouses. Don't care how much it pays. Yeah. Some people like reefer, some don't. I mean, I'm sure Fate and Highway Junkie, you guys can both say reefer life is something you've got to be very patient for. I don't know. You guys can finish that up live. That's up to you. I'm going to move on to the next story, though. I have, as you can already tell, eyeballs on a story about railway safety. And I'm going to kind of go on a different tangent on this particular story. But you know what? I mean, you don't want to miss this. This is about making roads and railways safer. Together, we can push for changes we need. Keep watching because this is about to get interesting. On March 7th of 2023, a railroad push maneuver was taking place. And in push maneuvers, what they do is they take an engine and a group of cars and they move them together and usually either across a railroad interchange or into a group crossing or an end termination. Sometimes you leave it up until it ends and it hits something that's still. Other times, I've seen a number of these going around. I used to drive taxi and I used to observe these push maneuvers. And a lot of times, more often than not, they're very safe and they're well thought out and well planned. But this particular night in 2023, that went wrong. A truck approached the intersection, and as these push maneuvers were taking place, a train car was involved in a collision with a truck. And what makes the whole situation difficult is what you're about to
7th
see.
of last year, Norfolk Southern train conductor Louis Schuster of Broadview Heights was killed when his train collided with a dump truck as the two converged at a railroad crossing at the Cleveland Cliffs steel plant. Schuster was conducting what's known as a shoving movement, which involves slowly pushing a series of train cars, and as in this industry video shows, often includes a conductor hanging on the outside of a car. The driver of the dump truck told investigators that it was dark, the crossing unlit. His truck pinned Schuster to the rail car where he died at the scene.
When he's out there trying to do his job the very best with the tools that they give him.
Rail safety private investigator John Hyatt points to several factors that could have prevented tragedy. In the NTSB report, it also cites a contributing factor was the rail crossing design, where the road and the track converge at a 30-degree angle, limiting a driver's field of vision.
This equipment, it moves quickly and it's not forgiving. If it hooks you, you're done.
In fact, federal rail safety guidance says crossings with unsafe horizontal geometries require additional safety measures. The NTSB also blamed the Norfolk Southern crew for not following a company rule requiring a crew member to be on the ground at the private crossing to warn traffic.
And as they
I'm going to end it there because they end that report on a very somber note. Again, reflecting on the idea that a railroad crew member lost his life. And they weren't happy about it. And you know what? It's just simple. Every rule that comes about in the railways comes about signed in blood. And that's what he was talking about. He worded it differently, but I'm not going to go there. But it brings about one important factor. How often do we as truck drivers approach railway crossings and think nothing of going through it? Lights aren't red, lights aren't dinging, you're not seeing activities, but just as quickly, you know what? Crap can happen. It could be March 7, 2023 all over again. You know what? We don't think about it. You know, we're just as culpable in that accident, that truck driver was, as that railway guy. The NTSB report did cite the main cause of the accident was the failure of the rule number 120. Now, in the railroad speak, that no rule number 20 was basically talking about there has to be a man on site operating or requiring a member of the crew to be on the ground at the railroad grade crossing to warn traffic. That's what that says. I mean, should we think about this? I mean, as truck drivers, I mean, think about how many railroads we cross every day. Think about how involved we are with the railway itself. You know, something to think about. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Hey, by all means, Frank, have at it.
The old saying is, and I learned this even when I was in grade school, whenever the train engineer would come and give us a lecture. Look, listen, and live. Those three right there, I don't care who you are.
Yep.
Guarantee it.
Exactly. I mean, it's basic science. You keep yourself safe by doing the right thing. I mean, you can't do that without at least, you know, thinking it through. I mean, Rule 120 was there for a reason. You know, and somebody obviously ignored it. But now I have to ask, as devil's advocate, how much culpability can we put on the driver of the dump truck?
Let me answer that one.
Go ahead, John.
Well, when you're coming up to a railroad crossing, okay, granted, out of most of the people on this board, I probably haven't been driving as long as some of you, but when you come up to a railroad crossing, the way I was trained is whether you're going to stop, if you're on hazmat, you have to stop, obviously. But if you're not on hazmat, you roll your windows down and you slow your roll and you listen and you look while you're slowing your roll over the thing. If that dump truck would have done that, would that have prevented it? Probably.
Well, now think about it. Honestly, if you think about it, the railway safety regulations require that a driver with hazardous materials stop, engage hazards, open both windows, look both ways, and they're also required to do it with school buses. So why not require every trucker to do that? What would be the problem with that? Anybody?
I don't see a problem at all with it because actually I kind of do that myself. I do just like if I'm approaching a regular intersection with a yield sign. I look both ways and I listen as best as I can, even if I have to roll my windows down. Of course, that comes from being a school bus driver also. And then I take my time and I get on across that track as quick as possible.
Think about the amount of accidents we've seen and heard about on countless railways involving trucks. You tune up bonehead truckers and you see it all the time. I mean, think about how many of those have been prevented if people were required to stop.
But 9 out of 10 on bonehead truckers, it's the trucker's fault 100%.
Well,
I mean,
no one's arguing
plow
that.
into a moving
train.
yeah.
I mean, you if you get hung up driving an RGN, it's somebody's damn fault but your own. I mean, but obviously, think about it though. How many of those could have been prevented? I mean, how much safer would the world be if we had a rule that said you're required to stop? If for nothing else, basically just look both ways and take the extra time to make sure that everybody's safe. You, the railway, and the traveling public.
Honestly, I think that's a little overzealous. I don't think you should have to stop. But yeah, slow your roll your windows down, look both ways. I mean, honestly, if you required every trucker to stop, all you're doing is creating more criminals because most of them are going
Okay, those crossbones are the exact same as or crossbars, whatever they call them. I just call it crossbars. They're actually the same thing as a yield sign.
Yeah, but when they're out.
No, we're talking about intersections that don't have red lights. They just have a set of crossbucks. If they got a set of crossbuck, the yield sign, you're supposed to make sure you get traffic on the train tracks.
Right. That's why you slow. That's why you slow your roll. You roll your windows down and you listen and look.
Yeah, and to Frank's point, that's what was displayed in that particular accident, March of 23. So I agree. It should be.
Well,
I think in a case like that, I think it's necessary to stop and look both ways and open your windows and listen for any cues. Because what made that particular accident particularly nasty was that most times when you go up on a road track, it's perpendicular to the road.
Yeah,
meaning the road's here and you're here. But what was so bad with this particular accident was there was a 30% grade. I mean, and the train was approaching the truck from this direction. So you had no way of being able to see a train, which was not motorized. It was just pushed. So there was no way to hear it. Okay. But if you stop and you open the windows, engage your hazards, you can hear the clack, clack, clack of the wheels as it's being moved down the road. You can tell if you look. And that might have saved the man's life that night. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well,
I used to stand by. Yeah, give me a little minute, little John. I used to stand by on many, many railway crossings waiting for exactly this very thing. And that was a very big teller. I could hear those wheels, even though the engine wasn't pushing it. I could hear them train cars coming down the road. So no one can say you can't tell if you open the windows. You can't not tell. There should be no excuse. What were you going to say, little John? Go ahead.
Most of them steel plants from when I hauled flatbed, they even the ones with the trains on them, those trains don't have a noise. They don't have the horns and everything else like a normal train would either.
No. Well, most of them don't. I mean, and you're not going to.
It's just pushing that cart or cars to the next spot.
90% of those push maneuvers they make are at ending terminations and seldom involve interchanges. Sometimes they do, as that one particular episode or newsreel actually did demonstrate. However, even that being the case, a lot of these cars that are moving like that, the railway does require them to put lighting on them. And that's only on the end car. That's not on anything else. They can't light everything because they don't have batteries for it. They do have.
No.
Well, they have what's called an EOT. Okay, and that EOT is an end of train device. And
no, they have reflective tape on the side, just like our trailers do.
Well, yeah, they're required by federal law to have that. But I'm saying, besides that, the EOT does make noise. I don't know if you realize this. If you've ever watched a train cross a railroad track, whether it's lit or not, you can always hear a very high-pitched whine coming from the EOT.
Now,
so
I want to make a quick deal on that. I've actually checked this out. Okay, those particular deals that you're talking about, EOTs, the reason they put those on there is because when they done away with the cabooses, because it was cost efficient for the railroad, they had to replace it with something, because the caboose was not only the end of the train, they were in command of quite a lot of stuff. Switch tracks, they were in command of knowing how much pressure was going through to come back to them. When all that went away, then electronics came around. That's why that device was put on there. Yes, it does make a beeping noise, and some of them are a squeal noise. That's not for us.
Right.
That's the communication with it wirelessly back to the engineer.
It only helps the engineer, yes. But
yes,
I also learned something in my 25 years transporting. I call them PTI. Professional Transportation was a company that contracted my taxi company with the responsibility of moving the railway crews. And one of the things I learned was that EOT device serves two purposes. One, it communicates to the engineer in the train, but it also communicates with the local dispatch centers. They rely on the information on that EOT for splits, brake failures, any mechanical problems that come up. So that EOT
like a black box.
People think exactly. It is exactly like a black box.
Did you guys see the one in Jackson, Georgia, where the guy got hung up on the tracks, decided screw this, pulled the pin on his trailer, drove the hell off with his Peterbilt? Let the train
You're talking
take
about
out
one of you're talking about one of those bonehead trucker scenarios.
Oh, it made national news. He pulls the pin. He got his tractor out of there. He had a chicken truck, looked pretty good. That train come through and tore that trailer, that drop deck, all to hell. But he's sitting over there standing against his truck.
Yeah, I think there's a channel on YouTube. What's his name? John. I'm driving with somebody. John, I think he made a short about that. Yeah.
Shameless plug.
One of the reasons why I can actually. Hello, where'd we go?
They can hear you. Keep talking.
Okay, one of the reasons why I can talk a lot about this is I actually was friends with the guy that done a lot of research and knew a lot about trains, and then of course it got me on it, so that's why I'm interested. Plus, I've always liked trains, even though they get in our way, obviously. But they're just like a big truck. They're something awesome. I actually wanted to become an engineer, but due to the problems I already have right now, it's virtually impossible for me to do. So here I am.
Yeah.
You know, you have hours as well, right?
What was that? Midlife?
Train crews have hours of service. If you ever see a train sitting on the side of the tracks and the crew standing outside, it's because they ran out of hours. They can't even stay in the engine.
Yep.
They have to.
They actually have a person that they pay. That's like an Uber for the train system that picks you up, takes you to a hotel. You stay in that hotel, and then you come back. Unless, of course, they have another engineer to take over in your spot.
Yeah. Hence the name of the company I just brought up in the discussion of this. It's PTI, Professional Transportation Incorporated. They are the main company that's, as far as I know, qualified by Jacksonville Central. I don't know about the rest of the railroad, the rest of the country, but in Jacksonville main line and in Norfolk, meaning the Virginia main line, at least, they're the ones that do all the transportation. Now, as soon as they run out of hours, you can bet there's a crew waiting there. Okay. And there's a car right there. And usually the first thing they do after they clock out and do their safety checks is they haul ass back to the depot.
Yeah, they actually do that a lot in my hometown.
Yep.
I will tell you, as a guy that watches a lot of videos, especially train versus truck videos, because it's one of my favorites. Guys, if you're looking for a claim, that's not the way to do it. Just get a Mississippi car wash. It doesn't affect other people that way.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and back to the subject of our actual deal here. At those intersections that are basically only have like that, and they're doing a lot of changing and stuff, of moving cars around and stuff, they are supposed to actually have someone out there. I forgot what their actual title is, but they're supposed to actually be out there to make sure that traffic is clear. They get on the radio and they say, traffic is clear, come on back. And then they start in the movement.
Operating Rule 120, requiring a member of the crew to be on the ground at the private highway, railroad grade crossing to warn traffic.
That's right, because we have that done in my hometown as well, because we have a lot of traffic, a lot of crossings that don't have lights. They just have the crossbucks, and that's it.
Yep.
Wouldn't that have been the guy that was hanging on the back doing that same thing?
No, the guy holding onto the back, all he was the conductor, and all he was responsible for in this particular story was the engagement and disengagement of the brakes and the coordination of the cars, controlling the back and forth movement.
Yep.
The 120 rule was not followed in this particular story, and that's what led to him being crushed, because had there been someone at the intersection, he would have known or been warned to jump off. The collision would have happened between the truck and train, and he would have been warned enough to jump off.
Generally, the only time that they use the conductor to do stuff like that is if they have no one else available. And in this particular scene I see here was actually they probably should have had somebody available, because it's probably a busy interchange where they constantly are switching out
more times
cars.
than not.
Yeah,
Conductor, an engineer, and a brakeman or switchman. Those are the three that are always every single one. An engineer, a conductor, a brakeman, and a switchman. They're usually one and the same, brakeman and switchman. But they can have more than one if the train length requires it. Now, the switchman and brakeman, he's the one that's supposed to get out and facilitate operating Rule 120. They changed that recently. So now they've got someone specially for just that purpose alone. Because a train crew, they raise hell at the fact that they have a 3-man crew and they have 2 men doing the job of 3 men. They're not going to accept that, and they're a union. They're federally regulated. They're going to get their way. So why should 3 men or why should 2 men be required to do the job of 3? No, they're not going to let that happen. So they are now rethinking that and doing it the right way.
They will if they pay them more. This is a union thing. They
It
pay
is.
them more and they'll do it. Just like they combined engine and engineer and brakeman several times.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it's a safety thing. You've got to do it. You've got to do it the right way. I mean, it is what it is. You can go to the land down under and do the train pulling 6 to 10 trailers. Now, there's something I'd like to do. If nothing else, that's a bucket list thing for me. And I know somebody else in this audience or on this panel has mentioned that in the past. Exactly. How about going to land down under, my friend?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I was messing around with somebody else. I was in the comments section.
Once again, caught you out. I caught you out. Yep. You were distracted.
What
do you think about
what are we picking on me about?
The comment on the screen, Grumpy. You can go to the land down under. He says, and do the train pulling 6 to 10 trailers.
Oh, don't get me started. That's my bucket list, man. That's my bucket list right there. I will make it. I will make it to Australia, and I will pull a train. I 100% will, dude. That is. I'm obsessed with that.
I saw that.
How about the guys in yellow that pulled a train their last weekend?
Well,
there was a that I think that video was
on Driving with John. I saw it.
I think so. Yeah.
Honestly,
I think that's every trucker's bucket list.
Honestly, yes. That don't have it on their bucket list. To be honest with you.
Yeah, honestly, that's something that I've had a dream of wanting to do too. But one, I can't financially afford it. You know, it's just it just costs too much to go down there. And I did find out from talking to some people from the land down under that you have to live there for X amount of time before you qualify to get a CDL down there to drive. So,
Well,
that
this is
kinda
what I'm saying.
me
Okay,
out.
the Outback is pretty big. So if you're just doing a ride along and then no one's around and they say, hey, take the wheel for, you know, the next 20 or 50 or 100 miles, no one's going to know, right?
Well, if you know a person that knows a person and a person knows that person, that might just work there, John.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody in Australia watching right now, just, you know, driving with John, all right?
Yeah.
Don't forget about
Reach
me.
out, help a brother over here. You know,
That's
he's looking to get a dream going there. And 7Cs, I'm gonna tell you what.
Help me hit
Being
that bucket
truckers,
list
these
before I
days, you guys
kick the
are pretty
bucket.
darn smart about train dynamics. I dealt with trains for 25 years before I got into trucking. So I will say I don't know it all about trains, but I probably know more about trains than I do about trucking. So that's saying something.
I will tell you what I know about trains. They go choo-choo and they have a horn just like we do.
They hurt when you get in front of them. That's true.
I wouldn't know that. I've never experienced that one.
Oh, dude, you've been on the wrong end of it. I'll tell you what.
Well, here's a fact.
I think I'm on the right end.
Yeah.
Here's a fact. You know how it takes us so long to stop when we're loaded? Yeah.
Oh,
it takes us 10 times as much to stop one of them.
Yeah,
Well, depends on what you run
here's
over.
another fact. They
If
have a
run over
designated
something
road just
very
for
solid,
them.
It'll slow them down.
Do
what?
what?
Was that midlife? You said something midlife.
When they
you
run
got
over
let
something
out.
really solid, it'll slow them down.
Yeah. Especially
yes. And it also can make a rather big mess.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's hope it don't make a big nuclear mess or kill somebody. Thank you. But nice saying anyway. What were you going to say, John?
Oh, I was nothing. Go ahead.
I mean, hey, we're having fun with this conversation. Anyway.
I'm excited for the last topic because I know there's another topic coming up.
There is indeed. It's kind of going to be a little weird. I mean, because honestly, it wasn't all I thought it was going to be. But it does bear witness to some important facts. And that's that, you know what? Like I opened the story with, we don't know it all. It does require, once in a while, that we actually do a little bit of asking questions. Learning. Question. Why is this doing that? What is going on? Technical difficulties. Gotta hate it. Some cases, gotta love it.
Operator error.
That too. You know, I mean, all right, guys, you gonna let me go now? From hours of service to weight limits, and from train accidents to God knows what else. There's a bureaucrat riding a shotgun at every big rule that's made. The truth is, anyone can say what they will about we need more regulations, less regulations, more here, less there. Last week, I talked about truck leasing, and I talked about you having a say-so and becoming an important part of what changes could go forward to truck leasing. It doesn't matter what you talk about. Nothing will happen if you don't get vocal, if you don't do the right thing. Live, learn, become smarter, get engaged. That's what's most important. Getting engaged in everyday life will save you and everyone else tenfold. You know, I picked on this story basically because, you know what? There's a story about truck leasing, and there's a story also associated with it about federal regulations and what differences we can make trying to get change made in truck leasing programs. It's what we talked about last week. And I'm trying to get my screen share thing going here so you guys can see the story I'm talking about. So bear with me a second. Here. Got it. And you see it. Federal regulations form truckers' voice matter. Now, this particular story right here talks about a task force holding virtual meetings, giving you, the truckers, the chance to weigh on important things regarding rulemaking about lease agreements. Now, this particular story, the time frame is past, so I'm a little late trying to put this story up. But the reason I put the story up is because of one simple thing. Channels like this and stories like this are important. And you coming back and talking about what we talked about last week, what you, me, Little John, and everybody talked about, makes a difference. It makes everybody think. It makes everybody ask questions. And it makes a difference in trucking. And that's what this show is about. Now, we may not be able to affect change on this particular story, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to encourage everyone watching this show to ask more questions, get more involved, become the reason for change. You can only do that one way, and that's get off the fence, make a stand, make a statement. Now, we had our say-so last week about lease agreements, what to look for, what things are good to do. Unless somebody can add something to it, I'm going to just encourage everybody watching, look at the links in the description, read the stories. Don't be afraid to reach out. Make a difference. Make a stand. Somebody said to me earlier, and they can pipe up and remind me, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Hello.
Who heard that said? Yeah, exactly. So what do you got to add to that, John? What do you got to add to that?
I would just say that's actually a brilliant idea to actually have truckers have a voice, but it shouldn't just be about lease agreements. Why don't they have something set up so that, when you work at a company, you can put a complaint box or whatever. Why don't they have something where truckers can actually have a say in things? Not that we decide it, but at least get to air our opinions about it. They did that with speed limiters, but then they shut it down right after that. Like,
subscribe to a service that gives you updates from the Federal Register and keep an eye out for notices from the FMCSA, DOT. That would be a perfect idea. How many truckers actually do that? Not many that I know of. Maybe midlife.
If somebody's got a couple $1 million, we can hire some lobbyists and get this taken care of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be somebody like, I don't know.
Doesn't OIDA do that for us?
Is that what Todd Spencer does? I mean, come on, Tom. Tell me Todd knows more than we do.
I don't hear Tom.
I hear him. He's trying to be a smart guy.
Oh, there you go. Oh no, he muted himself.
He did something.
You can hear me. You can hear me.
I can. I didn't hear what you said earlier.
He's picking on it.
No, I'm not. I think a brick fell off and hit him in the head. I have no idea what he said.
He changed his background.
Yes.
I said that's what OIDA is for.
I know that, Tom. How often do you think they actually defend for anybody other than the? How often do you think they defend anybody other than the members that pay for their service, though? You pointed that out to me one day.
The problem is OIDA is incredibly ineffective.
You join their membership, right? But if you don't, you get nothing from them.
Hey, they sell insurance.
Really, Tom? Really?
I've been meaning to talk to you about the extended warranty on your tractor.
Yeah. Tom, have a good day. What do you think, Grumpy?
Yeah, I can't take and lead after that. I mean, there's nothing there. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you don't have a warranty on your tractor. You don't need to talk to the man about. I mean, come on now.
Not today.
Joining
Okay,
things like social media and advocacy groups, that's good. Joining these groups can help you guys stay informed and build one strong, united voice. It shouldn't take somebody like OIDA. It shouldn't take groups like, the unions and all these big guys talking junk about corporate elites to really get the job done. We should be able to do this on our own. We should be able to engage with others, engage with industry stakeholders, and build a voice on our own. We should not have to depend on others.
I know a place
Um,
people can go to air their opinions where they can be heard publicly. Truckin City Media.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
is that a
shoot.
new channel? Is that
Maybe
a
a
new
group
channel?
like Grumpy Truckers.
No, not Grumpy City Media, Trucking City Media, or Truckin City Media.
We are going. Sorry, I don't mean to go.
Are we airing our dirty laundry right now? Is that what's
It's
going
also
on?
not. It's also not Midlife City Media either.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
but it might. I don't know. I heard it might get bought out by John City Media, but I don't know. That's still in negotiations.
I don't know. I heard he was in the doghouse.
I really don't know what to say.